Now it's time to be dangerous. Now it's time to get risky. Now it's time to truly find out what you're made of and what you could achieve. Now it's time to truly find out how many lives you can impact. Now it's time to find out what you were destined to become.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Raw Minds. Today's episode matters. Before we bring Derek in, I want to talk to you for a minute. Right now I'm building something big. It's called the Legacy Method app. It's a full coaching system, mental clarity, physical strength, emotional control, financial discipline, grief recovery, daily habit tracking, structural routines, real and keeps you real accountable, and also it's got meal planning too. And it's not just motivation, it's structured. It's for the man who's tired of starting over every Monday, the man who knows he's capable of more but feels stuck, and the man who wants to lead better and think clear and stop sabotaging his own growth. And as I've been building this app, something came very clearly. You can have the best workout plan, the best meal plan, the best mindset exercise, and the best habit tracker in the world. But if your sleep is garbage, none of it sticks. You won't recover, your testosterone drops, your stress goes up, your emotions get reactive, your discipline fades. Sleep is not soft, sleep is performance. And most men treat it like it doesn't matter. That's why today's conversation is a little bit different. We talk a lot on Raw Minds about grief, mental health, leadership, resilience. But today we're talking about the foundation that holds all of it up, and that's sleep. We grind, we hustle, we stay up late, we scroll, we wear exhaustion like it's a badge of honor, and then wonder why we feel off. And the truth is, if your sleep is trash, your mindset is trash. Your patience drops, your clarity disappears, your mental health suffers. So today we're bringing on someone who has tested over 500 mattresses since 2013. Not an influencer hype, not a sponsor fluff, real lab testing, real data. Erick is the founder of Naplab. His work has been featured from Freakonics, I think that's right, to national television. He has built systems that cut through marketing lies and helps people actually sleep better. This isn't about buying some fancy bed. This is about performance. This is about mental resilience and about becoming the man you say you want to be. Because you just don't because you don't respect sleep. Because if you don't respect sleep, you don't respect your future. And if you value your sleep and this episode hits you, shoot us a comment, drop a like, and share it for someone who needs to sleep better. Well, now let's get into it. And I just want to say welcome, Derek, to Raw Minds.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I'm actually, our conversation, I told you before, sleep's huge. I love sleeping. A lot of people don't know it, maybe, that you spend sometimes even more than half your life in your bed, depending on your sleep habits, I guess you could say, right? So it's a big thing. And for me, my bed, I paid a lot of money for my bed because, I that's where I spend a lot of the time, right, is sleeping. Well, at least I get about 4 to 8 hours between that, right, which is kind of bad. I should be getting more, but I mean, it is what it is sometimes, work has to go on. But anyways, enough about me. Please, man, I want you to plug all your stuff first so everybody knows where to find you.
Sure. So, hey, the easiest ways to find us is just at our website at naplab.com. That's naplab.com. There we have our reviews, comparisons, stuff guides, educational materials, and a whole lot more. You'll also find our Mattress Finder quiz there. Answer a few questions about your needs, preferences, budget. That goes straight to me or a member of my team. We send you back a personalized free recommendation within 24 hours. And lastly, we also have our contact form there. Just want to say hi, have a random question. You can always drop me a note there, and I'll be sure to get back to you as quick as I can.
That's awesome, man. And I want to ask you, how did you even fall into this? Who is Erick, and how did you be able to sleep on over 500 mattresses and probably growing?
Yeah, quite by accident, and it really just started with a personal problem I had. My wife and I got married in 2014. Initially, we were sleeping on my full mattress that I had just sort of kept from high school, and so we were in the market pretty quickly for a new beds. We did kind of the whole in-store experience, going in, trying on beds. We found beds and mattresses that we liked, but very expensive. $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. Everything was just astronomically expensive, and we were a young, newly married couple, not a whole lot of money to speak of, and pretty frugal people at that. So we just couldn't pull the trigger on these sort of expensive sort of mattress specialty brands, and ended up trying sort of sight unseen one of these new kind of online mattress brands that was just getting started at the time in 2014. It was a king size, all foam, $600. So we tried it. ordered it. It was okay, not great, but we returned it, and the return process was really easy. And so we ended up trying another one, and we liked that one a lot better, and we ended up keeping that. And so really just as kind of like a fun weekend project, kind of just sharpen my website building skills. I just wanted to throw up a website, and I reviewed the two beds that I had tried and slept on. I did a comparison of them, and then I had some more information about just kind of what the experience was like going in store, notes about that, and just threw it up just to see what it would do. And straight away, it really seemed to strike a chord. People really liked the reviews. They liked what we were doing. We were getting a lot of traffic within just a few weeks. Our readers kept asking to test and review different models and different brands. And we kept just adding. Within just a few months of launching, we had tested 4 or 5. And within, I think, something like 5 or 6 months of launching the website, it was doing well enough that I was able to replace my full time income and start my career as a professional mattress tester.
That's pretty awesome, man. I have to say, dude. That's it's very interesting too. You know how like how you fell into it. I mean, and I think that's a lot of cases in like in businesses. People just fall into it. You know what I mean? It just happens, and it was like that. It's made for you. What you're doing. I mean, you're probably changing people's lives in mattresses, like their sleeps and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because they can check out your reviews, man. So I think it's very cool. I've never even heard of anything like this before. So it's definitely yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely not something I was looking for, but once it sort of fell in my lap, I was like, just I was kind of at a crossroads where I was very much sort of ready to leave my sort of full time marketing corporate job and do something different. And God opened this door, and I just said, you know what,
Nice.
let's give this a try. And absolutely, it's great to be able to work on something that I think really has meaning and impact in people's lives. Being able to make recommendations and help people find mattresses that fit their needs. It's a simple thing, but when you're not sleeping well, it's everything. And
Yeah.
when I can connect people with the right brands and models and things that match their budget and preferences, I feel good about the work that we get to do.
Yeah, so I know we were talking the first time that we talked that you guys go like very in depth too, right? Like you guys are ripping them apart. You're giving all these, and like I was blown away. Like like you have different beds for different things. So like you had the best bed for sex, the best bed for other things. Yeah, like look. So first off, let's get into like what the process. I'm interested first like this, and then we'll get into a little bit like some mental health stuff after. But I'm kind of interested in this in the process.
Sure. So every bed that comes in gets a full sort of battery of objective and data driven tests. We have 10 different tests which conduct and gather 43 different data points on each mattress. And then we use basically the battery of data to help us understand, how does this mattress perform? How does it score? And then how does it compare versus everything else we've tested? And so a lot of, mattress reviews historically have been very subjective. People come in, they feel the bed, they lie on the bed, they sleep on the bed, and they talk about their subjective experiences. And I think that there's certainly good value in that. But in sort of founding and building Naplab, we really wanted to bring this level of data and quantifiable research to each review and to each score. So it's not enough for me to just lay on the bed and say, yeah, well, that feels cool, so I'm going to give that a good cooling score. No, we take it a step further, and we're taking, thermal photographs to take surface level temperature measurements and then compare that to everything else we've tested, which also has thermal measurements. So we can say, okay, we know this is cooler because the surface level temperatures are, so many degrees cooler than the average. Or the same kind of stuff with motion transfer. It's not enough to just sort of, do an egg test or do a wine glass test, even though those are visually interesting. We take it a step further by, we're doing our same drop test, but we have an accelerometer on the other side of the mattress that's measuring, the acceleration mins and max, how long the acceleration persists on the mattress, and the total duration. And so again, not just, a visual, not just me saying it feels good or looks good. We have quantifiable data backing up all of our analysis around the mattress. And that, I think, just really gives our reviews and recommendations just a certain level of teeth that many other reviews don't have. And so
Mhm.
whenever we are saying, hey, this is the best, well, it's because we've tested hundreds and we know it's the best because we can compare these relevant data points to everything we've tested and say, hey, this thing is in the top 5% of all mattresses tested, or hey, this thing is in the bottom 10% and it's also very expensive. So, this one's probably easy to pass on. And so we try to bring in as much of the objective, data driven, and quantifiable information as possible so our recommendations really have teeth.
That's great. And so, and how do you justify of like what each bed is better at? You know what I mean? And like, do you guys make up this scale like sex, or is there already like a written like sleep, sex? I don't know, jumping on the bed, is that one? Like, I don't really know, you know what I mean? Like, I remember you said a bunch before. I can't remember off the top of my head again here, but yeah. How do you
So
guys like yeah, go
So
on.
our testing battery is, developed over time, and really it's developed by the sort of feedback that we're getting from our readers. We know people, want and to prioritize mattresses that are cooler. We know people want and prioritize mattresses that have lower motion transfer, that have better edge support, that have better general support, that have better material responsiveness and better sex performance. And so we have this set of 10 different tests that are all sort of aiming to bring as much testing and data around the things that are most important for most sleepers.
Mhm,
And then we weight those factors based on, again, the biggest priorities. We know that the biggest two priorities for sleepers are cooling and pressure relief. So those represent
mhm.
a much bigger percentage than something like off gassing or sex performance. Off gassing and sex, important, but not as important as sex and motion transfer. And so we've built our sort of battery of tests over the years and then slowly refined and tuned how we test and score those. And so our scores are really kind of based on cumulative amounts of data that we've accumulated. We sort of know where the average is, and then we sort of, know that we want, average to be a score of around an 8. And so things that are earning better than average scores need to have a quantifiable data metric associated with them that is significantly better than average. And the same is true when we see things, dropping below the average score. And so our scores have really helped us again just refine those data points and sort of give us sort of the indicator of whether or not this mattress is, good, great, amazing, or maybe it's, less than great, less than good.
Yeah. Well, what would you say then would be the biggest myth about these mattress industry purchases?
I think certainly the biggest myth is that you have to spend a huge amount of money to get a good quality mattress.
Mhm.
For most sleepers, I think you can spend $1,500 to $2,000 for a queen size and get a excellent quality mattress. It's going to last every bit of 10 years and it's going to be a strong performer. The mattress industry in the US has spent, a good chunk of the last, 30, 35 years really trying to convince sleepers that, you need to spend four, five, six, $10,000 on a bed. Otherwise, it's just not going to be good. And I just don't think that's true. I've
Yeah.
tested mattresses that are, everywhere from, five to $10,000, and I've tested everything below that. While we see sort of, incremental performance gains up to around $2,000, you start to see a point of diminishing returns beginning at around $2,000. Now you're still getting kind of more and more and more up to around 3,000, but with very few exceptions, mattresses that over $3,000 are not going to be substantially different than mattresses that are in that $2,000 to $3,000
Mhm.
range. Now, again, there are exceptions. If you want something that's all organic, all natural, or maybe it's fully adjustable with electronic pumps, or it's got active cooling systems, okay, those are in kind of a different class. But
Yeah.
excluding those sorts of things, your typical kind of high quality mattress, be it latex, memory foam, polyfoam, innerspring, you can get, an excellent quality mattress, between $1,500 and $2,000. For most people, there's really no reason to ever spend more than 3,000.
Okay, and then so into the mental health part, this is where like you get this, you spend the money, and I say like spend the money, like like you said, it's you're sleeping on this shit. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
sleeping on it, so why not? I mean, you go out and you buy the biggest TV, with the nicest quality. Why not go out and buy the nicest bed that you can, that's like affordable, that's going to help you, get these nice sleeps that you've came up with and your data shows, right? I want to get into like the mental health like part of this. And I know you're not really like like, but I mean you're in like with the sleeping and stuff. So if you can maybe just answer like a couple of these questions just as best as possible. How directly do you think poor sleep impacts anxiety and depression in men?
I mean, I think it's everything, but it's not
Yeah.
it's not me thinking that. It's, dozens and dozens
Yeah.
of, university-led studies that show us that that's the case. I mean, sleep is really the foundation of our health, of our bodies, of our minds. When we are sleeping well, we are performing well. The body heals itself, the mind heals itself, the
Mhm.
mind recovers. And when we're not sleeping well, those things fall apart. So I know it doesn't take very much research to, look at the studies that show, People that get, less than 7 hours of sleep have worse outcomes when it comes to anxiety, depression, and a host of other, not only mental health, but physical health, ailments and issues as well. So one interesting study came out in December. It's in the University of Oregon, something, something. I forget the exact university, but they looked at all of these factors that impact longevity: mental health, diet, exercise, genetics, social isolation, smoking, sleep, bunch of other factors. Sleep was the number two most important factor. The only thing more important than sleep was quitting smoking. So as long as you're not smoking, sleep is more important than diet, more exercise, social isolation, like all these factors. And again, it's not to downplay their importance. It's just to make people really aware that sleep is essential. It's critical, and that when we do sleep, we heal and recover, and when we don't, we don't heal and recover, and those things naturally build up over time, and it can cause, I think, a lot of the physical and mental struggles that we're dealing with right now.
See, and I totally agree with you on that. Sleep is huge. Everything. I like to take naps too. I love naps. But the reason why I take so many naps now, I think personally, is because I'm lacking the sleep lately because I've been so busy trying. I'm in the midst of doing an app. Plus, I got the podcast, and I'm putting everything else first before myself right now because I got tens of thousands of things on the go. You know what I mean? Well, maybe not that much, but and I'm just trying to prioritize. So my sleep has been really, really slacking lately. Probably I've been pushing like this for a couple months, definitely. And I'm sleeping around 4 hours of sleep. And at first, though, I'll tell you, at first I was like really tired in the morning, but it's almost like my body's trained to it, which is kind of weird, though. How do you know about that? Like, it's like, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you can convince your body that you only need 4 hours, and you can carry on for a long while. But those sleep debts do build up over time. And even if you're not necessarily feeling tired, you may find you're struggling more in other areas. Maybe it's
yeah.
energy. In your case, it's feeling the need to like nap more during the day. It may be physiological, maybe mental, it may be health stuff. You may find a certain health issue is cropping up that you weren't dealing with before, and that's just because you're robbing your body's natural healing and restoration processes when you're only sleeping 4 hours, when most of us need to get 7 to 8 hours. So in a short term, I think you can make those sacrifices, but eventually it does catch up.
Yeah, and you know what, man? I'm telling you, like I said, I love my sleep, man. I got a good bed, but I do feel groggy. You know what I mean? I'm always
Yeah.
feeling groggy. Even like right now, I feel groggy. Doesn't matter how many coffees, and like I do feel it. But it's like it's funny that it's like I've trained myself. But you said it's and unhealthy, and eventually it's going to catch up, right? And maybe that's why I nap so much is because I'm trying to catch up for the lack of sleep, right? But
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. But I mean, that's something. I mean, hopefully, I bet y'all get some good sleep here in the next 2 weeks for sure. Because my app should be out by, I'm hoping, the end of next week. So then that's a couple more hours of my time that I can add to myself here because I'm just been going crazy right now. Just a big push.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully, you can find that consistency, consistently kind of
Yeah.
going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time. Not only does that just develop good sleep habits and good sleep hygiene, but that schedule, I think, will help you in other areas as well. But I think in a short term, it's, kind of easy and tempting to want to, steal a little bit of time, work a little bit
Hmm.
later, get up a little bit uh, earlier. But I think that if your experience is anything like mine, as someone who's also done similar things for various stretches, I have really made a point to maintain that consistency around sleep. And I find that I sort of do my best work whenever I am, consistently fully rested, giving time
Hmm.
for sleep, for work, for personal relationships, for fun and relaxation. I think you got to have all those things in balance. Otherwise, you end up, pushing yourself too hard, burning out. Physically, something happens. Mentally, something happens. And so, yeah, I would just encourage you to not undervalue, just how important that consistent sleep can be for you.
I definitely agree, man. And like this is why it's Raw Minds. I'm not scared to come on here and say, what I go through, whatever. I'm not one of these people, oh yeah, my life is great. You don't have to worry. Like there's no Instagram fucking pictures. You know what I mean? What you see is what you get, right? And that's it's true. And I'm normal. I'm just like everybody else out there. You know what I mean? I just got a microphone and I got this show that brings on amazing guests like yourself and talks about these things, right? And like, yeah, like it definitely, I agree. When I'm like at my peak, man, there's no stopping me. So I think that's why I'm pushing so hard too. This might be a breaking moment for me, to be honest with you. That's why I'm pushing so hard too, because I can't really focus. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because I don't have that full rested sleep. So that's probably why I gotta get this, I gotta get this, and not being able to fully, put my full mindset into, so I'm half-assing it because I'm half-assing my sleep, like my intro said, right? So I think this is a little bit of light bulb moment for me. So I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, like, and you know what? I used to be like fucking dead on, man. I used to wake up actually at about 4:30, 4 to 4:30 in the morning. I used to go to bed around 9 o'clock, wake up. I used to work out, journal, do some meditation, eat my breakfast, and then go to work. And then when I come home, do that. That was my thing. But a lot's happened since then, right? There's some changes.
Yeah.
But I got to get on to a proper schedule again. Definitely. I agree with that. I agree with that. But it's hard when you're working from home too. You know what I mean? When you work from home,
Yeah.
I mean, it is hard, right? So,
All the more reason I think to create those boundaries again. As somebody who also works from home, essentially, it's really easy, I think, for people who work from home to just sort of let the work take over, kind of like every
yeah.
free moment. And
Yeah.
so this is another area where, for years and years, I had a lot of struggles where just trying to find that balance. And as somebody who is a bit of a workaholic, I really had to say, okay, these are my working hours. I am not going to work outside of these hours. And again, it feels, initially it felt a little, sort of overly rigid and just constraining. But again,
Yeah.
over time, it just allowed me to find like the place where, all right, I can have fun, I can exercise, I can relax, I can sleep, I can do all the things because I have to make intentional time and structure and schedule for each of these things. Otherwise, it's just too easy, I think, in sort of our world to let one or more things kind of fall to the wayside.
Yeah. I agree with you, man. I agree. And like being a single father, it's a little bit hard because I got these time frames. So I'm in here when I can, then I'm out, and then I'm in here. And that's why I stay up late, I think, is a big portion, is because that's when my kids doing our thing, right? Like sleeping and stuff. So finally, peace and quiet. But now,
Yeah.
luckily, I have my beautiful girlfriend. She just moved in. She's amazing. So now I got a little bit of backup on that. So she's been good. And I put a lock on my door so the kid can't come in and bug me anymore. So
Nice.
that's another win too.
Yeah, I think having being a parent, I think, is another sort of separate struggle, especially with respect to sleep, where
Yeah.
the kids finally go to sleep, and you have some free time, some me time, and it could be very easy to stretch that beyond what you should, and then end up staying up too late. Again, I'm more just sort of preaching from experience here for someone who
Yeah, man.
constantly does this. But even there, it's like I finally get my kids to sleep usually at 8:30, and then so kind of 8:30 until I go to sleep, but I'm still, by like 11 o'clock, I know I've got to be like wrapping up. I've got to be heading to bed. So
Yeah.
11:30 at the latest, like I'm in bed. Otherwise, I will pay for it. I
Yeah.
think kids also have like helped me. I think maintain that better schedule because the kids are getting up early no matter what, and
Yeah.
so I'm going to either be okay and full energy and reasonably awake, or I'm going to be awake and low energy and suffering tremendously. So
Yeah. With lots of coffee.
yeah, exactly.
So do you guys do any like for any tests for like even mental health reasons for the mattress? And I like, this is a weird question, but I mean, like, I don't really, this is the first time I had any, a guest like you on the show. So this is it's kind of a different episode.
Yeah, so we don't do any direct mental health testing. I am a mattress tester,
Yeah.
sort of not a mental health professional. I guess the way I kind of look at it is, if I do my job, which is testing mattresses, helping people find mattresses that suit their needs, preferences, and budget. If I do that, they're going to get good sleep or better sleep. If they're getting better sleep, all these sort of, issues, ailments, physical, mental health, emotional dysregulation, all those problems, solve themselves because we have corrected sort of the root problem. So that's kind of how I think about the mental health connection with respect to our work.
Yeah. And then also though, you said, you brought up some data before too, of how sleep affects, I mean, your mental health, and it really does. I mean, you're not gonna. It's like driving a car. You haven't slept in like days, and you're driving a car. It's the same shit, man. You're gonna crash, right? And guess
Yeah.
what? You're in that car, so you're gonna crash. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Um, I mean, I this is a bit of a different episode, man. So I don't really know what else to say for the mental health stuff, to be honest with you, man. I would like to go maybe in some of the data side
Sure.
of your stuff, though. You've tested over 500 mattresses. What actually separates quality from marketing hype?
So I think the biggest thing is just material quality. When we look at mattresses, we can see two mattresses that are all foam mattresses that are both 10 inches. And if you look at them at a very sort of black and white, maybe they each have a 3-inch comfort layer and a 7-inch support layer. But if the material quality on mattress, A is substantially lower than on mattress B, they
Mhm.
can look very similar, but the higher quality foams are going to deliver a much better performance, better cooling, better longevity. And so I think this is what makes it one of the things that makes it really hard to shop for mattresses. It can be really hard to ascertain the differences in quality just by looking at a particular product page where brands really go out of their way to really hype up, and there's all kinds of marketing speak and brand
Mhm.
fluff and hyperbole, and everything just sounds incredible. A $300 mattress sounds just as good as a $3,000 mattresses, when the differences can be pretty striking. One of the things that I always encourage my readers and viewers to consider is the weight of the mattress, because it's one of the few metrics that mattress brands generally always disclose, but it's very hard to hide behind. A mattress that weighs more has more stuff in it. It has more robust, thicker, heavier coils. It has denser, thicker, higher quality foams. Whenever we see those types of materials, the mattress is going to be heavier, and heavier mattresses then tend to be they last longer, they perform better. And so, whenever you're out shopping for a mattress, if you're unsure, if you're being sort of, maybe misled, or you're not sure about the marketing spin and all of it, look at the mattress weight. If your queen size mattress is less than 120 pounds, that begins to be something to consider. Ideally, I want to see queens that are at least 120. Certainly, more is better. Doesn't mean that everything that weighs more is always better, but in general, that's what the data has shown us over the years.
Okay. And so, another thing, what's the I don't know if I can ask this, but what is one of the worst mattresses that you can I say that?
Oh
Can I?
yeah, absolutely. I
Okay,
mean,
what is the
you
worst
just
mattress?
you can look at our data and see it's no secret. I believe it's a mattress called Best Price Mattress. It's a mattress. I think it's really only sold on Amazon. They're trying to go after the keyword of someone just literally typing in what's the best price
Yeah,
mattress.
okay.
I believe it's manufactured overseas. It's a very low quality foam product. It's fairly thin. It's very inexpensive, and it's just not great. It's not
Okay.
great at all. So I think it's a textbook case of where they're using foams that are intentionally poor quality to hit a price point that they want to hit, and that's not always a bad thing. But I think in this particular case, the ratio of price to foam quality is off, such that the performance really struggled in a number of categories, and it earned one of the worst scores that we've ever seen.
And how about the best?
The highest scoring mattress we tested currently is a mattress called Wink Bed. It's only $1,800 for a queen. It's a hybrid, uses really nice quality foams, and just hits that sort of perfect balanced feel. It's able to deliver really strong performance at a very good price, delivering excellent value. It's a hybrid, so we have coils on the base and multiple layers of foam on top, and then it's covered with a European style pillow top cover. It's just a
Okay.
mattress that really just nails each of our performance testing categories. I think even with some mattresses that are more expensive, they can sort of fall into traps where the types of materials that we often see when they're more expensive make material responsiveness worse. It'll make bounce slower, which then negatively impacts sex, or the comfort layers are so thick. Now cooling is a problem. So you can sort of be a little too extreme and then cause issues. Whereas Wink Bed and sort of other hybrids like it hit that sort of, sweet spot right in the middle where it's able to deliver really great performance in a non polarizing feel way that lots of sleepers can enjoy.
And that's called Wink Bed.
Yep.
I think I've seen that before. It's like is a blue background with white wording, and it's like it's a like what, eye winking
It's something like
or
that. Yeah.
something
They've
like
got kind of
something
got they've
like
got the
that.
little blue polka dots, I believe, but you'll see.
Yeah, I think I did see that before. Yeah, okay. Because I was looking on when did those beds came out where you can order them, they come to your house, and it's in a little box, right? And you open it up.
Yep, 2014 is when we started seeing sort of the direct to consumer mattresses initially.
Yeah.
At 2014, there was only, maybe 4 or 5 of them. By the end of 2015, there was something like 50. By the end of 2016, there were hundreds, and there
Flooded.
are still hundreds today. And so, like kind of all sort of D2C products, some are exceptional, some are good, some are okay, some are bad. So you have a
Yeah.
pretty broad spectrum. But one of the really nice things about direct consumer mattresses is they're able to reduce so much of the markup that goes into mattresses. Transportation costs are lower. They don't have the cost
Mhm.
of the building, of the warehouse, of like a big fancy brand, all these things that make sort of traditional mattress brick and mortar retailers more expensive. And so you're able to get, say a mattress that's, $2,000, would be more like $4,000 or $5,000 in store. So you save a huge amount of money and get a really nice quality mattress.
And I think it was it Shark's Den, I think is when one of the guys, I forget what it's called, the mattress. And that I think that's when I think it was Shark's Den or the other one. And that's when it came out and they brought like it brought a mattress out in the box, and I think that was the start of it. I'm like, whoa, that's really cool. Like I think it's gonna change the
And
whole
yeah,
scene. And
well, it
it kind
absolutely
of did.
has. It
Yeah.
absolutely has. I mean, you look at the sort of, prices of sort of, a new mattress in the US over the last 30 years. I think leading up to 2014, it had just gotten to a really absurd level, quite frankly. And the sort of influx of all these new D2C companies put a tremendous amount of pricing pressure on the industry at large. So even these more legacy sort of, bigger box retailers have been forced to reduce prices, develop models and options that are more budget friendly. And I think that's been great for consumers in the US to have more pricing pressure, more competition, such that we're able to see just better breads for more reasonable prices.
Which is nice, especially at times like this. I mean,
Yes.
everything goes up except for our finance. I mean, our wage. You know what I mean? Everything goes
Yep.
up, but the wage. So
Yeah.
it's crazy. Well, I would like to say if you can plug all your stuff again, please, one more time here before the end. If you could do that, brother, and show where people know how to find the data and know how to get to you guys.
Absolutely. So just visit us over at naplab.com. That's naplab.com. We have our reviews, comparisons, best of guides, educational materials, and a whole lot more. We also have our Mattress Finder quiz there. Answer a few questions about your needs, preferences. That goes straight to me or a member of my team. And we'll send you back a personalized and free recommendation within 24 hours.
That's cool, man. I really appreciate that. That's actually really cool. Like, and I actually want to talk about this for a second. The questionnaire. It's a bunch of questions of how you like to sleep or like what are like your preferences, I guess.
Exactly. We ask you your sleeping position, body type, body weight, your priorities. If you sleep with a partner or you sleep alone, mattress types that you're interested in, budget, and a few other questions. And then we basically use all of that information to go through our database of 500 plus mattresses at this point. We look at everything that you've said versus everything that we've tested, and then try to align your priorities, preferences, needs, body weight, budget with a single perfect mattress recommendation. And we send that right back to you.
That's really cool, man. I'm kind of doing something that with my coaching, but with worksheets. So that's really cool. I like that, man. That's really cool. Anyways, man, I just want to say thank you for coming on, reaching out. I think this is really important that everybody should be getting really good sleep and they should head over to your website, and take that test, and find out how you sleep, what kind of mattress you should be sleeping on, and maybe hopefully you'll have better sleep, and thank you for Derek and his team for doing over 500 tests and a lot more to come probably.
Yep. Yeah, we got more coming. And one thing I think is going to be kind of interesting, we've been working on. We've added durability testing within the last couple months.
Oh,
We got
cool.
this big industrial machine. It's called a rollator. It's the same sort of testing machine that major mattress manufacturers use. And so they use this to basically do accelerated testing. So it's a big, basically arm that swings back and forth and has a 240-pound rolling pin. Essentially, we roll that continuously for 5 days over the mattress, and then we measure the height of the mattress. We measure up the hardness. Is this thing getting softer? Is it sagging? Is it losing height? And a few other tests we run on to help us understand which mattresses really last and which ones don't. We've got a couple more weeks of, well, a couple, maybe like 6 more weeks of sort of initial internal testing that we're doing to sort of build up a little library of data, and then we're going to start publishing about 5 to 6 new tests per month. So be sure to look for that.
Wow, man, awesome. Well, congratulations on that move in, man. That's cool. I've seen that too, like how it's made or whatever those shows, and like I've seen
Yeah.
the big arm and going back. So that's cool, man. Wicked. Good
Yeah.
on you. Well, I just want to say thank you for coming out, man. I really appreciate you coming, and this is, like I said, this is really important, guys. Like, you know, your sleep is huge. I need to fix it. Definitely need to fix it. So I'll be working on that. Thank you, Derek. I appreciate you for bringing that light bulb up and opening it. And also look out for the app. I will keep you guys in tune on that and let you know when that drops. Anyways, thank you, Derek, again. And that's Naplabs. Everybody, you can find the description below and check them out. All right, take it easy. Bye. Thanks.